صباح الخير جميعا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. First of all, very grateful for the kind invitation from the organizing committee. It feels a bit strange for me to lecture about HR on gurus of HR, but let me start by first saying that for me as a CEO, the most important function in my organization is HR, period. And it's always been the thought that success is always and primarily related to how you manage your talent and your human resources. Therefore, the discussion this morning about employee first, I think is very close to my heart. Before I get into that, let me just talk about the context of what we will be talking about. Then I'll talk about quickly the transformation that we have gone through and how that relates to the discussion of today. Then the heart of the matter is employee first, why and how. As a context, just to, for those who are not very familiar with STC, the group is the largest telecom company in the MENA region. We are talking about capitalization of close to 140 billion riyal, or about $40 billion, with an annual revenues of almost more than 55 actually billion Saudi riyals. We operate in a number of countries. Clearly, the kingdom is the largest, but we have operations in South Africa, Malaysia, Turkey, Kuwait, and Bahrain. We have lots of subsidiaries. I'm not going to talk about them. The KSA part of STC actually came from the ministry time. So we are the ex-ministry of PTT, if people recall that. And within Saudi Arabia, we have more than 20,000 people located clearly across the kingdom, across the different cities and villages of the kingdom. So that's the context we are talking about. We started a transformational journey about 3 years ago of the company. And when we started, we wanted to make sure that we have a very clear objective to everybody, to all of our staff and employees. And we really wanted to turn STC, especially on the performance side. And we wanted the company to start operating on world-class standards. So very clear objective. Now, how to go about that? We wanted really to fix the culture, okay? And I think we did not focus on, clearly we had financial targets, clear financial targets, but that was not the focus. The focus was more of really fixing the culture of the organization, because culture, I think, is directly proportional to performance, financial performance. So we did focus on what we called fixing the culture. And when we started again, the way we were organized, like many old companies who started more of an engineering firm. So the organization was always looking for excellence in engineering, get me the best products, things of that sort. And so, you know, the network and all of the technology-related functions were the primary focus of the organization. In the last 2-3 years, we reorganized in a way that is much more customer-centric, much more customer-focused. And therefore, the whole organization actually changed so that we can have much more focus on the customer. And we would like to now to take it forward this year on to a much more, I would say, a company that's much more focused on specific KPIs and performance-related things. So when we put the blueprint for the transformation, we focused on 3 pillars. We are a service-oriented organization. Therefore, we wanted to ensure that customers really get what they deserve. And so we started with a major theme across all of our businesses. We want to enhance our customer experience. We want to make sure that the customers who are using STC services and products really get the best service that we can offer. So that was a theme, a major theme across our different businesses. Second, we wanted to, as I said, improve the culture of the organization. And I'll talk about that, and that's the focus actually of my presentation. Third, we wanted, and I think we have the right, and we have the to have the ambition of really working at a world-class standards. And that goes across all the different processes that run in the organization. And therefore, the excellence aspect of things. How can I do a process in the most efficient way was always and has been a major focus of this transformation. So 3 pillars for that transformation, but the most important aspect of it is really fixing the culture. So we started with a vision. We debated the vision, within ourselves, within our staff. We engaged the board. Finally, once that vision got fixed, we started putting our value system and the behaviors related to those values. So we clearly, the customer will always should get the right attention from the organization. We are in a technology area, so innovation is very important. Agility, again, a large organization like STC, for it to operate efficiently, you need to start instituting the agility thinking. Trust, and finally, what we call one STC. STC, as I said, came from the ex-ministry time, and therefore, you have huge silos going on around the organization. And therefore, we wanted to really put one value that brings everybody together. And so one STC was the value that brings us all together. We work together to ensure that service is delivered to the customer at its best. Then came the employee first concept. Now, employee first concept is not a new concept, and actually it was pioneered by one of the large Indian IT firms, HCL. The CEO, Vineet Nair, I think like 7-8 years ago, started with that concept to turn around the organization. And I had the pleasure of meeting him like 7 or so years ago. And really that triggered lots of interest on my side. And in fact, there was an Harvard Business Review of that experiment that HCL did. And I thought it's very relevant to STC. Why? Let me, first of all, highlight that for a service organization, the motto should be customer first. How come are you coming and saying employee first? There is a contradiction in there. And there is, in my mind, no contradiction at all. So the idea is that for us in the management side, employee comes first, so that our employees will make our customers first. We take care of our staff so that they take care of our customers. That's the whole idea of this theme. So we started so many different programs across the organization to make that not just a theme, but a reality and a way of living within the company. So we started enhancing the environment that our staff work in, and that had a very incredible, so much impact on the way our staff feel. Increasing transparency, and when I say increasing transparency, it's across the board, across our HR processes, to ensure that people feel that we do care about them, that performance is the only measure that we will use. يعني ما في واسطة, there is no other way for people to be measured except their performance. So transparency was a very important aspect. Again, increasing the value-driven culture, the 5 different values I listed, we started practicing them. We started really inducing the use of them across all of our activities and programs. Now, Employee First is not about free lunch. We are not there to spoil, the staff. It's really much more than that, and I think people are realizing that. So it's not that I will just go and increase salaries and give freebies and things of that sort. No. The idea is that I will treat my employee with the transparency they deserve, with setting the right priorities and clear priorities for them, creating an HR environment that respects them, and that, previously, people were actually looking at HR as an organization that's protecting the interest of the company rather than the interest of the employee. We turned that around. We really want HR to be the function within the company that is looking after their issues. So I think, again, it's just how you turn things around. We started so many different programs. I'm not going to go and dwell on them, but what I just want to focus on is a series of communication programs that we have started across the organization to take our values and to take our value system into the mind and heart of every single employee in the company. So we started with a number of programs that focuses first on the executive management. So we have what we call the top 100. Then we go into the top 400 executives, which includes senior VPs, GMs and directors and section managers. And now this year we've started a major drive towards the top 1,000. In addition, we have town halls where either myself or some of my colleagues in the executive management would go and meet with the staff, both in the headquarters and in the different regions. Again, where people come, and it's a very open environment for people to ask questions, debate issues. And what I have noticed over the last few months, when we were doing those actually 2-3 years ago, I would say 95% of the questions were HR-related issues, complaints-related issues. However, I have seen now a shift where people now are engaging into the business aspect, the strategic aspects. Where are we heading as a company? And I think that is very satisfying for me. People are starting to take HR issues for granted and really focus on the business aspect. So I think the issue of communication and having continuous communication is a very important process. And again, we have been doing these town halls and these meetings frequently. Myself, I get engaged quarterly with meetings with everybody in different cities, as I said, and it's complete open town hall concept where just people come with an open mind and really talk about the issues, and that's a good feedback actually for me to understand the pulse of the organization. Now, I think everybody agrees that we cannot improve anything if you cannot measure it. And therefore, we really wanted to see how our culture programs, fixing the culture program is doing. And therefore, I know there are lots of systems you can use, but we decided to use the OHI, the Organization Health Index. I know a number of organizations here use that. And so the credibility of the system is proven. And we have been running it for the last 3 years. And let me share with you how things have changed. And in fact, when we started the first survey, STC was bottom quartile. So we knew we had lots of issues to worry about. But then the beauty of the OHI is that it really gives you an X-ray of the organization and how or where the issues are, okay? When we started 2013, we were, as I said, bottom quartile. So we were at 33. Just a couple of weeks ago, we jumped to 55. 22 points jump. Per McKinsey, which conducts the survey, this is the largest jump in the history of the OHI since inception. So over the last 10 years, no single company managed to have 22 points jump in 3 years. This is, for me, very significant. It means that the process that we have induced within the organization is bringing value to us. People are feeling better now living within the organization. Now that puts us as a company in the third quartile as you compare us to other telecom companies, and clearly we have more stretched targets. So I'm looking to my HR team here, and I just challenging them to take that to different highs, hopefully بإذن next year. More importantly, part of actually the survey results, other than just the composite, is the values and how they evolve over time. When we started, you see lots of negative red values reported by employees. If you look at our latest results, no negative value or all negative values have disappeared, which is again more significant for me than just having the jump in the composite score. It's that people are starting to feel positive on the organization. This is, I think, the power of focusing on the culture and on the HR issues, is that people start feeling that they are in the right place and that they're coming to an environment where they enjoy work. But also, that impacted how our customers are rating us, how our customers reacted. This shows, and actually that's by Nielsen, and I think this is 2015 results, and it shows how STC compares to its competitors across the different dimensions: top of mind, current brand, the main brand, and what they would recommend. So again, it's really showing that our employees now are treating our customers better because we treated them better. And that's, again, the link how employees first really feeds into the customer first concept. Also, our brand, how our brand reacted. STC currently is valued at almost $6 billion in terms of a brand. And in fact, we have jumped significantly over the last couple of years. And in fact, we are only second to Emirates Airlines in the region in terms of brand value. This is, for me, again, a very significant indication that the whole ecosystem now have reacted positively to that culture change. Time is running out, so I'll just conclude by putting here what is our plan for the year to come. We really want to start getting into nailing the performance management aspect, because I feel that we're still doing it in a traditional bell curve type of approach, and therefore, and I'm sure that's something that should have been discussed here in this conference. So I hope my team can make use of all of the new trends on how performance management should be done. Second, and very important, is data and data analytics and its impact on the HR programs. We have tons and tons of data, and therefore, I think the use of analytics and the big data tools can improve significantly how HR run its programs. Also, we have a very ambitious program that's starting this year to build an STC Academy that will be the incubator for our talent for the future. As an industry, we are changing dramatically, in a way that I'm almost sure that telecom companies and telecom operators in the next few years will be completely different in terms of their offerings or even their organization structure. So we really want to ensure that we have the right talent that will make sure that we take the company to the new digital economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Biyari, for such an inspiring start of the day. We've got a couple of questions for you. We want to make the best use of your time with us today. What's the most important trait or element, I would say, that you would like to see in an STC HR professional?
What's the
most important trait or habit that you would like to see in your HR professionals?
Well, clearly for me is if the HR guys start believing in the value system that I've just put and walk the talk, then that's the best indicator to everybody in the organization that we as a management are serious about it, because most of these values really touch the HR system, and therefore really for them to believe in it and practice it.
Thank you. One more question. Call center employees deal with customers all the time.
Yes.
They are a very important part of STC relationship with customers. How do you manage to keep these people motivated?
That's very difficult. We have huge call centers. And those actually are outsourced to one of our joint ventures. One of the most difficult aspects that we faced in the past is that, typically call center staff, you need to rotate them or change them every 2-3 years. However, when we started, we had people in the call centers for almost 12, 13, 14 years, which was really difficult. And therefore, we have started a major program of inducing new blood within our call centers and taking the old guys into other functions within the organization where they can add value. Also, we've introduced a call center for ladies, where we hired close to 400, 500 ladies that have been almost operational for the last year and a half. It proved to be one of the most important and successful steps that we did on the call center side. But we are continuing to monitor the progress. The KPIs of the call centers have improved significantly over the last couple of years, to the extent that, I don't know, people used to call the call center and just wait for almost half an hour to be answered. Now, 80% of the calls are answered in 20 seconds or less.
Impressive. Thank you, Dr. Biyari. I think